Hello, and welcome to another wonderful episode of Joy and Gratitude. I am here with the beautiful, joyous Miss Beth Mercurio. Beth, what are we doing today?
Hello, Nio. You have such a calming voice today, and it's beautiful. It feels appropriate to what I thought we could talk about, actually. Actually, you look, it's so funny how sometimes we don't talk, and then you dress in a way that is relevant to the topic, which is what I'm feeling right now. So I'll just share with everyone that is just maybe listening and can't see Nio. She has kind of a beautiful blouse on that's got like it's a beautiful green and it also has some other colors in there. But most importantly, the fabric is very flowy and it like moves. It's got a lot of movement. If you can picture a fabric with movement. And now, of course, she's moving. So that's awesome. So she's bringing her own waves. So, anyway, when I saw the shirt, it looks like waves, like a kind of a cool manifestation of waves in your outfit. And what I wanted to talk about today was how do we recover, manage, get through the times in our lives when it feels like the waves just keep crashing and crashing. And you get up, and then another one comes, and you're back underneath. And you get up, and another one comes, and you're back underneath. And so I just feel like I've been talking to a lot of people lately who are having that same sensation where it's just the layers and layers just keep coming. And so we've started to talk about how do we get through that? How do we make sure that even when those waves keep crashing, that we are able to get back on our feet again? And so what do you think about that as a topic? Let's talk a little bit about what do we do when the waves feel like they just keep crashing and it's hard to catch our breath and it's hard to get back up on our feet again. But we know that we need to when we want to. What do you think, Neo?
It's a topic that's so relevant to everything that's happening in the world.
Hmm.
I just feel like whether it's the news, the amount of change that is going on across the world is faster than we're used to.
Hmm.
And it's also in our lives because you see, when the energy of the world is a constant change and a constant chaos, it filters down as a wave into our lives. And it's because psychologically we're in this state of what's next instead of a state of creating our path. So when things happen, it's all about how you react to them. Things that have always been happening. The wave has always been there. The only thing is we're hypersensitive to the wave now,
Hmm.
you know, and it really is about how you handle it. You know, um, I was listening to someone and someone was talking about how we talk about this so much, the pause, right? We talk about the pause and the pause is so necessary. But you see, beyond the pause, there's the short reflection. And that is not even a pause. That's pulling in from your energy the, okay, this is happening, but I'm not broken. And reflecting on the fact that you have the skills to get through that. And it's
Mm.
beyond resiliency because resiliency is a little bit different. Resiliency is the recovery, it's moving forward, but it's actually owning your core that you got the stuff to get through. I'll give you a personal example. This weekend, my husband and I went and had dinner. We had a little date, and I ordered soup. And when I order the soup, I'm very cautious because I have an allergy that I'm allergic to mammal protein. So I can't have any meats, anything with a hoof. I don't eat because if I eat, I get very ill. And I asked them, what is the base that you're using for the soup? And they said, oh, it's a vegetable base. And I said, okay, I'll have the soup. It was a beef base.
Mm.
And, found out when I got home. I went through my whole allergic, and I'm still going through it. In one day, I lost 2 pounds.
Mm,
And I was swollen. I was feeling horrible, and I'm still in recovery. But the fact of the matter is, why did I bring that story up? I brought it up because you can't control everything, but I do know how to control how I'm going to react to it. And I do know how to control how I can be. So I could have been giving myself a pity party about the soup, and I could have been angry about the chef and about the waiter that gave me the misinformation. But in reality, I just took it as maybe I just need to rest. And maybe it's a good time for my body to just cleanse through, and I took my meds and I just was kind to myself, and I put everything to the side and made a decision of how to handle that wave. And
mm.
that's basically it. We got to make our decisions and also know that we have the strength to get through any wave. And some waves give us freedom, and we got to acknowledge that.
Say more about that. What do you mean?
So I was looking in the news and I noticed that since November, about 300,000 women have lost their jobs.
Mm.
And um, in a way, I was like, wow, congratulations to all those women. And I say that because now they have the freedom to choose. Before, they were just doing a job, they were following the track, the mousetrap that we do in corporate America. But now they have the right to choose a new path for themselves. Do they have to stay in the same industry? Probably not. Some will, most will. But some will become entrepreneurs. Some will impact us in a real powerful way. And that is how the wave can give you freedom. The wave is just part of life.
I love this idea that the wave is part of life and that if we can expect it, and I do think there are moments where more waves come, but again, when the more waves are coming, if we say, "Oh, okay," one of the things that came to mind when you were talking is this. I will often say, "I will be okay."
Hmm.
No matter what, I will be okay. And that's kind of my signal that goes, it's time for you to go resource those inner skills. Because I think you mentioned it. We each have our own. The one you described, I heard two, and I just want to name them to help people to be able to identify what theirs might be. One was a mindset shift. You said, okay, I can either be in a mindset where there's some blaming, right? You a little bit of like, woe is me, the chef got it wrong, the waiter, right? That's and instead you flipped it. That was a mindset shift to go, wait a minute, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to figure out how to take control of the situation and do what I can. So I see that as a beautiful mindset shift to own the next step instead of just to like have all these things happening to you. We talk a lot about it. I'm going to say it again. It's our creator mode. It's being in the land of possibility and it's owning our that we always have moves to make. And you chose, I'm going to, all right, I don't love that this happened, but it happened. And what's my move? And you decided to rest. That was another skill, I would say. You said, my body needs to rest, and then you rested. And that feels pretty powerful to me. Those two beautiful skills. Sometimes when I'm feeling that overwhelm, I
Hmm.
choose to make my world smaller. It's like, you know what? I don't want all the potential X factors that can come from being so open to all the people and the worlds and the social activities, and sometimes just coming in a little bit closer to myself and my family can resource me as well. So when you said rest, I thought that's one I use too. Sometimes I try to choose to just kind of be a little bit more contained to resource myself differently And again, it comes back to this idea of control. What can we control? What do I need to do to be okay? And I do think it's super personal. We talk about this a lot. Everybody has their own ways. But one of the ones I want to talk about too, that I think has been maybe a little bit more new for me, is as much as sometimes I'll make my world smaller, which for me is rest, or in a way I almost feel like I call it escapism. Like sometimes I just need to escape. And that could look like I go away for a day somewhere. I do whatever I need to just kind of literally escape whatever it is that I'm managing. And sometimes I choose to do that with friends.
Mhm.
But in the past, when I would do that with friends, I wouldn't really talk about what's going on. The escapism piece was to go be completely out of whatever was going on for me and to be with people not talking about what was going on for me, but rather, you know, doing something fun that avoided the real thing. And that is amazing. And I want to come back to it because I do think there's something, and I'm going to say it out loud so that we do come back to it. Neo, you can hold me to it. There's kind of a short term, long term that
Mm.
I think we could talk about as it comes to how we resource ourselves through these crashing waves. And so for me, escapism is a beautiful short term fix, but it does not help me in the long term. And I always end up being like, well, that was really good, but this thing is still here. So something that I've been playing with a little bit, not that sounds fun, but let's talk about that. Making things fun can help, is doing these escapism things with friends, but then actually sharing
Mm.
some of the real stuff that is happening. And the more vulnerable I allow myself to be, the more I realize that other people feel the same waves or
Yeah.
different waves, but have a magnitude of waves. And then I'm just not so lonely. I'm not so alone in feeling like I need to fix all the things to be okay. I can actually just sit knowing, oh, everybody's got the waves. They're just different for each human. And so that vulnerability of actually sharing things that maybe in the past I would be worried about sharing, or, was too much to take on sharing. I feel like there's something beautiful and new for me around just saying this stuff, whether it be, we're having a hard financial situation or my parents are really sick and I'm super scared, and talking about the fear of like what's going to happen to them, and the energy that it takes to be in the sandwich years of supporting your parents and your children all at once, and all of those pieces, saying them out loud. So interestingly enough, you never know what's going to work, and maybe that's kind of part of it, is testing it. So this time you tested rest and it worked for you, right? There may be times where that isn't what you need and you realize, this isn't, I'm not feeling closer to okay, let me try something else. So I do think experimentation and trying things, and understanding what are the tools you can pull from to get yourself up, standing up again, breathing again, out of the wave crashing, is something really interesting for us to talk about.
Something that you said really hit me because I've been doing the same thing that you're doing, the leaning into friends.
Mm.
And something that people don't know about me, I'm a dweller.
Mm.
And what a cave dweller is a person that basically likes to be home, quiet, and in their cave. They create a beautiful cave and they just like to be home. And even though I can be very social, I really love quiet. Love it, love it, love it. However, I've learned to be a better friend in this stage of my life. And I've learned to have amazing friends. The quality of friends is so important during the wave because now we are at a stage that we must be with that small nucleus of friends that we can be vulnerable. And they have the safety of being vulnerable with you, and you have the safety of being vulnerable with them. And that is what keeps that core strong, because that core is being acknowledged, accepted, and told, "Yep, you are cool. Yep, you can do it. Yep, you're strong." And sometimes we just need that. We just need someone to listen, not judge, not do anything, but listen. The best friend is the friend that sits by you quietly.
Excuse me. Yes,
And
yes,
yeah,
that is right.
right?
This the friend that sits by you quietly. And one of the things I'm also realizing is the more we show up for each other in different ways, like just sometimes just sitting. Sometimes my favorite thing lately is if somebody's really having a hard time, I just go buy flowers and bring them to the
Mhm,
house and leave them outside. Like you don't have to bring me in. It doesn't have to be a whole thing. But for me, flowers brighten my day. So trusting, I used to always second guess that. I'd be like, "Oh, well, I don't want to drop something off. What if they feel obligated to come to the door? I don't want. Maybe they don't like flower." And I would convince myself not to show up in ways. And now I don't think about it. I just do it. If you have an instinct to show up for somebody,
do
just
it.
do it. Do
Do
it.
it.
Do it.
And
And yeah, go ahead.
no, and let me tell you something. You are feeling that friend's energy. When you have that
Mm.
feeling of, I need to call Susie or I need to do a drive by and just see that she's okay, please do it. That is that friend's energy calling on you. And it makes the world of difference. Those are the quiet moments. Those are the moments that make us all a community, that make us all be able to thrive. And, you know, there is so much power in that. And another area that I think that is really important is lean into your spiritual core.
Mm.
And everybody has a different one. I'm not going into that. That doesn't matter. But if it's meditation, if it's yoga, if it's praising God, if it's being in prayer, whatever it is, lean into it because that is what makes us different than animals, different than anything. Is the fact that we are spiritual beings
Mhm.
and our spirituality can get us through anything. You see, we're unstoppable. We just have to make a decision to be unstoppable.
I love that. I'm going to say that again. We are unstoppable. We just need to make the decision to be unstoppable. I kind of like that better than I will be okay. Like, I might be changing my mantra. I will be okay. Might have to be like, I am unstoppable. Like,
That's right.
bring it, bring it, bring it, bring it. Because whatever you bring, I have my people, right? We just talked about finding our people. We have our people. We have our inner resource. We test which one works the best. Does sometimes you need different resources. But this idea that we are unstoppable and we can take the change, the rapid pace of change, the incredible amounts of change, and learn from the people that do show up for you and how good that feels. So when people come and whatever they do, if there's a moment where you're like they felt your energy, they did know, they just showed up, that has also given me permission to do more of it. I go, "Oh,
Mhm.
God, that felt amazing when that person just dropped something off." Somebody dropped off like a beautiful crystal. It was just this energy made me think of you, I'm thinking of you. It was like as simple as that. And now I sort of love that idea. And learning from each other what feels good and then bringing that to the table. It's like we talk about acceleration and amplification and ways in which we can just build together. This is another example. We can
Yeah.
learn from each other. We're always learning. How do I learn what really felt good? How do I then enter that into my world where I say, I want to do that for other people? Handwritten notes. I would love our listeners to think like, what are the things that really hit you? where you thought, I mean, I had someone come over just say, "I felt like you could use a hug. Can I give you a hug?" I'm like, "That was amazing." And then
Mhm.
all of a sudden that let me peel back and be a little bit more vulnerable and start to feel, and instead of bracing, I was able to feel a little bit more. So there's probably beautiful lists that everybody
Yeah.
can create of the things that either someone has done for them
Mhm.
or they have done and how that was received that fills our toolkit. And obviously, no one will be surprised that one of my really big ones that, of course, I have to talk about is gratitude. And I know earlier I mentioned short term and long term. And for me, I feel like obviously it can be used in the short term at any time. But for me, gratitude is a practice now. So I do it all the time. I do
Me
it
too.
every night, right? I
Mhm.
am in the practice of gratitude. It is no question been a life changer for me. So when you talked about your mindset shift, I couldn't get to that mindset shift to say, how do I control this situation? How do I take some power back instead of feeling like everything is happening to me? How do I shift? How do I move? And for me, gratitude has been that game changer where when I start to feel really overwhelmed, burdened, I start to move into that space. I go, wait a minute, what is one thing you are grateful for? Just look around, and that becomes my move, is to start to go, I'm grateful that I have a body that can take me for a walk right now. So I have a choice. I can go do something. I can go lie out in my yard and look at trees.
Mhm.
I, what are the things that are in my life that I really am grateful for? And then that allows me to move and shift out of mindset. So I had to really talk about the power of gratitude and how it can always move you and shift you towards unstoppable. It always can. It's just such a great tool over time to continue to rely on or ask a friend. I
Mhm.
know you're really struggling. I know it's really hard. Can you just take a minute to think of one thing that you're grateful for? And instinctually, sometimes people say, "No, I can't think of anything." And I just say, okay, can you just take a little more time?
Mhm.
Is there anything and of course there's always something. It might be
Of
challenging, it
course.
might be hard, you might not come to mind as fast as you might like when you're feeling beaten up by the waves, but it is really an incredible tool for people.
I totally agree, and I also practice gratitude. I can't go to sleep without, 2 things that I always do, actually 3, but, I also look for the joy moment in the day,
Mhm.
and sometimes there are many, but I think that that's important because it lets me know that there's living joy in my life. And the joy moments come, and you see, we are so used to leaning into the bad that we fail to appreciate the good, the gratitude. So I always do my gratitude and I
Mm.
do that joy moment. And then I go into praise and literally visualize the next day, and what is going to be my contribution to the next day. Do that every night before I go to sleep. And I will tell you, when you start taking the moment to appreciate gratitude, appreciate the joy moment, and that's that moment you laughed in the day. That's that moment that you ate the best strawberry you ever ate.
Mm.
Or you had some ice cream. Or you had your coffee was the right temperature, everything, and it just filled you with happiness and joy. It's simple. Don't make it complicated.
Mhm.
But give yourself the right to celebrate joy and gratitude every single day. And I know that some of you are going to say, oh my God, that's so hokey. That's so, hey, you only got one life. Why not put a smile on your face every single day? What's hokey about that?
And honestly, one of the things you're making me think of in addition is sometimes when you are feeling all of those things, I like to just laugh at the absurdity of it. I mean, sometimes the layers are you just
So
I mean, they just
ridiculous.
keep coming that you have to laugh and you say, "This is absurd. Like, is this actually happening right now?" Like, I literally am carrying 12 things. Every finger is holding there's nowhere else. Like, where's the capacity gonna come from? And then I just start giggling. And once you start laughing about the absurdity of whatever the layers are, there is something lighter that happens. And that's usually when I'll start often telling a friend, I'll be like, listen to this. Can you even? Here's what's coming next. So same, it's the choice. You can laugh about it or you can, get angry. Again, energy choices. You just said we have one life. Well, don't we want to live that life with a little bit more lightness? We don't get to choose all the change. We don't get to choose the pace. All of that is going to be continually happening. It is a lifetime of that. But we can choose how to make it lighter. And if we are struggling, we can choose people, we can choose friends, we can ask for help. Like there is a community of people that will be there to help lighten us, to lighten the load, such that we can get back to being unstoppable.
Absolutely. And, the fact of the matter is, you can control what you can control. The rest, it's out of your control. So, give yourself a break. Be a
Mm,
little vulnerable, have a little fun. But yes, give yourself a smile a day. Give yourself some gratitude a day and teach those around you to do the same. Because remember, we are the community that we associate with.
yes.
So we need to be working together to elevate each other. That's why the wave is easier. When you're in like you see my shirt, when you're in the ocean and a wave is coming and you're with a friend and you hold hands and you jump together,
Yes.
it's a lot easier. The break doesn't feel as harsh
I love that.
because of your community. You're with someone else and you're brunting that wave together.
Mm,
So sometimes you don't have that person there, but you have their energy in your heart.
mm.
So you can get through that wave. It's just a moment. The wave is a moment. And when we go to the beach, we jump many waves. So always remember, you can handle any wave. And thinking about that, I'm thinking of the Joy um, song for this episode. And the only one that came to mind was the great Tina Turner. Big wheels keep on turning,
Oh,
and we're rolling, rolling like a river. Just remember, her river came, it gave her a lot of turns, but she kept on going. What do we have with Gratitude Rocks?
yes, let's see. Today we have this beautiful sort of brown, chocolatey brown color, and the word is mindful. I know, not much needs to be said. We just need to be mindful. All the tools we talked about, many of our inner resource tools, I think being mindful brings us to that place. Being mindful gives us a choice to remember what can we control and what can we not control, and how do I spend my time and energy, more important than time, energy in the places that will move me to being unstoppable, to being in community, to building something, to having impact. Mindful. I love it.
It's so intentional, it's so beautiful, and it is all about the flow. So, this is just a pause from our never ending podcast of joy and gratitude. And we can't wait to see you again next time.